There's so many splash pages, but there's the one we're looking for. It's going to be Seed versus Younghwa, a PvP. Of course, our first map is going to be IC Cup Test Bug. And let's get the game going. I don't think I'm ever going to say that intro again. That sounded kind of lame.
Well, we'll make it better and better as we move on. Here at CSN, we are a very new organization, but we are trying to get better and better. So any sort of criticism you guys can provide to us, we will take it to heart, and we will do the best we can to improve the entertainment value, improve the games you can see, and make your lives better.
That's right.
And also making your lives better is I am Younghwa here in the red.
That's right. He's our Protoss player. But not our only Protoss player. Here's another one. It looks like Seed spawning as the blue Protoss player up at the top of IC Cup Test Bug. Again, a rotationally symmetrical map. There's that phrase again. It keeps cropping up in different maps around the StarCraft world. And this is only a 3-player map as well. So a little bit different. The only other 3-player map that I can think of, I mentioned earlier, was a Xel'Naga Fortress, I believe, which saw some play in the most recent GSTL. And, or was that World Championship Team League? One of the two.
I don't think it's been used in GSL quite yet. It is on the docket for the next season.
It's been used, yes.
Oh my god.
I guarantee you.
Alright.
I guarantee you.
Well, there's so much StarCraft going on that I can't even watch it all, even though I am in Korea, the home of StarCraft.
Well, you guys can watch it just as easily as we can, thanks to these wonderful streams. But if you ever are in Korea, definitely stop down by the GSL studio here in Mokdong. If we're doing GSL. If we're not, then you can't get in, so don't stop during that. But if there's GSL going on, we'd love to see you there. Yep.
I completely agree, and GSL loves foreigners. We are trying to do a lot to make it easier for you guys. The World Championship VODs were actually completely free. The reason for that was Gum's way of helping to support Japan in the fast trivia that happened over there. They're still rebuilding, so still obviously taking donations to help them in any way they possibly can. So we have a little bit of a later cybernetic score coming out from Seed. They're doing the exact same build, it just their timings were a little bit off for whatever reason.
Yeah, and usually don't see players exactly the same. I mean, as we saw last game, sometimes typing can distract you. There hasn't really been a lot of that going on rather this game. But sometimes, you can be distracted. I mean, Seed could be thinking about the last match, possibly losing again. It's been a rough day for Seed, but we'll see if he can do a little bit better in PvP than he can in ZVP. That probe going out to possibly do some scouting, maybe throw down a forward pylon a little bit later as well. Usually it's that 3rd or 4th pylon that the Protoss puts down that ends up being that forward pylon.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why Seed's tech is a little bit delayed is because he did send out this little early scout. When you do see a normal build going up, you're not actually going to get any information from an earlier scout compared to a later one, like Younghwa, but it does let you scout to see if they were doing any sort of proxy gates or some sort of cheese build that you would need to react to immediately.
Now, interestingly enough, I'm seeing on the production queue that they're both going 3-gate. Is that right? Am I seeing that right?
That is actually right. The production tab does not lie.
Wow, so 3-gate and possibly an expand. So I think both players, they played against each other a lot. Stalker on Stalker action there. And it looks like the blue one, the Stalker of Seed, is a little bit more damaged, although the other Stalker of Younghwa's does need to run away as well.
So the expansion of Seed going down a little bit earlier than Younghwa's. If this does get scouted, it might trigger him to go for a 4-gate all-in. Try to get that little extra damage going down, and we do see a forward pylon going down, so we might actually see a very aggressive play from Younghwa if he can scout that the expansion is going up.
And there's indeed a 4th gateway going down for Younghwa back at his base. He's going to try to pressure a little bit with these stalkers and then warp, of course, a lot more in later. And I think this has all been kind of a trick all along, maybe looking like he was going to expand, trying to get his opponent to expand and then 4-gating as well. But the thing is that 4th gate is going to be so late. Is Younghwa going to be able to do it? Looks like he has the Stalker advantage right now. One Stalker almost going down. It's going to come down to Micro now, and Seed trapped in the corner, warping in 3 more Stalkers. One immediately does die. And let's see, how many Stalkers does Younghwa have left? It looks like he's got plenty. Younghwa definitely in the lead right now, putting down another forward pylon as not to get supply blocked. and he's going to go after that Nexus. I kind of question this a little bit. I feel like he should let it finish and try to move into the base right now, but it looks like it will be canceled, and that's going to give even more money to the Blue Protoss to warp in more units, especially those Zealots, which are so important to kind of force the Stalkers of your opponent back. So, I don't know, I kind of feel like Younghwa should have pushed at that point.
Yeah, he maybe should have pushed into the base, but he didn't want to get caught off guard. He knew he could get an advantage by just canceling that Nexus right there. The Stalker count is very, very similar, but it is slightly in favor of Younghwa, so he is going to be able to keep Seed in his base while he does get out that robotics facility to try to get out the higher attack. Seed is still only on 3 warp gates, so he needs to be producing at perfect macro in order to be able to defend against something like this.
Yeah, basically. No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yep, I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they decided to go with Blink Stalkers, and there's a Blink going down. Oh no, but Younghwa canceling the Twilight Council as that Nexus is canceled and going instead for Robo Bay. So deciding to go with maybe one base Colossus, I would imagine, while his opponent decides to go with Blink.
Well, it looks like he did actually cancel the first robotics facility. I'm not exactly sure why he did that. Maybe he was trying to get one extra wave of units, go for that other kill of the Nexus. Just make sure that Seed stays on one base so it is an even economic game.
Younghwa a little bit ahead in the income tab, 26-24 for the worker count. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but it will provide more workers to be out there, putting down pylons, possibly gathering minerals, things like that. Robo Bay for Younghwa almost finishing as he is taking out those rocks to give himself access to that Xel'Naga tower. In the meantime, Seed deciding to move out right now, deciding to get aggressive. Blink is not finished yet. It's only about a third of the way done, but he will at least be able to clear up some of those forward pylons, as well as the rocks protecting his Xel'Naga tower.
And once again, this map does take effect of a lot of the map attributes that are built into StarCraft 2. It's very different and dynamic compared to StarCraft 1. You've got rocks, you've got gold minerals, you've got Xel'Naga towers, all sorts of different things that you can use to your benefit or your opponent can use to your detriment. So.
Alright, so Seed pulling those Zealots back, not wanting to lose any to the Stalkers, and now going on the offensive himself again. The Stalker counts, though, 2 even, so he does decide to pull back. Definitely the best safe decision right now. With that pylon going down there as well, I kind of wonder in the back of my mind a little bit if he does want to still expand, but I think we're kind of past the point of no return. He has gotten Blink, he's getting the Zealot speed upgrade. I think he's just going to try to one base this extremely hard, and you know that Zealot speed actually would be very good against Stalkers with Blink. However, Younghwa, of course, did not go Blink, instead is getting that Colossus.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see in this game. There's a lot of mind games going on. You see the tech started, you see the expansion started, you see both of them cancel. Robotics facility was started for Younghwa, it was canceled and then rebuilt. I don't know if this is just them knowing the exact timings of each other because they play each other so much, or if there's actually some sort of complex mind game going on where the metagame says, alright, I'm going to start getting this tech. If I see a specific thing, I'm going to continue along with it. But if I don't see that, then I'm going to cancel it and go for something different.
Oh, and here comes Seed. Nope, not deciding to attack after all. There is one Immortal there. I wonder if you caught a glimpse of that. Another Colossus on the way as well. The first one is out. Seed moving in right now, but I think he's going to pull back when he sees that Colossus, or he may decide to try to go in and snipe it. Zealot charge has finished. That force field just saved Younghwa. If those Zealots had gotten in there, that Colossus would not have mattered. It would have torn that army to shreds as the Stalkers fired from behind. Great force field from Younghwa, keeping him in the game.
Yeah, the problem is that it saved Younghwa's main base, but the expansion from Seed is going to be up very soon here, and that's going to catapult his economy much over Younghwa's.
Yeah, Younghwa will be able to make a pretty strong push, although it looks like he is deciding to expand as well. That probe is going to die. Look out. Whoa, lucky probe. That Nexus does get canceled, though, and rebuilt again. So a lot of money actually being lost by Younghwa having to cancel and rebuild that Nexus. And, yeah, I don't know. It's looking very even right now, but I tend to give the advantage a little bit still to Younghwa, just because even though his second base is a little bit slower, he does have the Colossus out right now, which do lots and lots of damage to the Stalkers. Although, I mean, I've never really seen Speed Zealot and Blink Stalker against a more normal sort of Robo army in PvP. I'm really, really kind of curious to see what happens when those two armies finally do meet.
That, in addition to, there might be some High Templars coming out here for Seed, I'm not sure if this is going to be for Storm, if he's going to be trying to feed back the sentries here to prevent the force fields. Blink is finished though, so you can sort of poke in, do a little bit of damage, blink out. You leave the hurt ones behind. Well, you're supposed to leave the hurt ones behind so that they don't get completely killed. But you can just kind of play a huge mind game against your opponent and keep them in their base to let your economy really take off. Unfortunately, we have 3 Colossi here for Younghwa, so Seed is going to have a huge disadvantage here, even though he does have Blink.
Yeah, Younghwa is going to be able to do a lot of damage, and just the small force that Seed brings in there is going to be chased back very, very quickly. Now, Seed did, of course, see the army of Younghwa, so that's going to allow him to prepare for that. And Seed actually getting Archons. Wow, that is a very interesting decision.
That is, and he's sinking a lot of gas into these Archons. I don't know if that's because he got the Zealot charge, so he's going to be getting very Zealot heavy. Unfortunately, those Archons don't really do a whole lot except to Zealots.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they do hit kind of hard, but they attack a little bit slowly. And again, they do extra damage to biological, which really only would affect the Zealots. So I don't know. Again, you know, this army kind of composition is getting more and more curious. Although, if you keep in mind, Seed was the player that always did those really crazy unit compositions back a couple seasons ago in the GSL Team League. So this could be kind of a continuation of that. Both players getting a forge at the same time, too. That's kind of cute, isn't it?
Well, they know they need to transition into an upgrade battle at this point. Their economies are relatively close. They're both on 2 bases, both mining on those 2 bases right now. Their army size is actually very similar as well. A lot more gas favored for Younghwa because of these Colossi. But that is going to start skewing the other way because Seed is pumping out these Archons. I would have really liked to see those Templars used for a little bit with their energy before they were turned into Archons, but...
Well, it would have been good for feedbacking the sentries like you mentioned earlier. I mean, I really like that idea, but I don't know, I think he's just looking for pure damage right now. Getting very, very brave with those Stalkers, so he could be lucky if they don't get cut off, and they don't. Plus, they can blink anyway, so he's fine.
And Seed actually going for crazy tech this game. He's now throwing on 2 Stargates. I don't know what exactly he's going for. Oh, it is Phoenix. Those Phoenix are going to be used to lift up the Immortals. They can also do a little bit of damage to the Colossi if they're caught off guard. These Stalkers still just sort of blinking in, doing a little damage, blinking out.
Oh, but here comes the army of Younghwa, though. Pushing back Seed again. He's got such a high Colossus count. Really, I feel like Younghwa could just kind of A-move across the map right now and probably win. What's the army tab look like right now? Yeah, Seed actually a little bit ahead. I'm surprised, but the DPS for Younghwa is way, way higher right now.
Yeah, and the reason Seed is ahead is because he does have a few extra workers here, so that does account for a bit of that discrepancy. He is going to lose a lot of these Stalkers here if he doesn't pay complete attention to them, unfortunately. And now, as you were saying, Younghwa is able to just sort of A-move, so he's testing the waters a little bit, move out, move back, move out, move back. See if your opponent overextends or if they pull out their army and you can actually see what's going on. I don't know why he's not using this observer a bit more aggressively to see what's going on the map. It might be because he wants to be focusing his robotics facilities entirely on the Colossi instead of getting out a second or third observer to do any sort of scouting.
It makes sense. This is such an interesting unit composition from Seed. Speedlots, Archons, and just a couple Zealots, I think, if I remember seeing right. Yeah, and some Stalkers as well. So, I mean, just a very bizarre unit composition. Those Zealots are going to be able to close on everything in the army of Younghwa very, very quickly. Is it time? The armies are drawing closer to each other. It looks like we may finally see this fight.
The problem is that these Zealots can close very quickly, but that's not exactly beneficial for them because these Colossi will kill them very quickly as well.
They will kill them.
And here the battle commences. The Phoenixes are going in there, are lifting up a lot of the sentries, preventing some of the force fields. The Stalkers are trying to get a lot of damage on these Colossi, but the Colossi are staying up. Only one goes down finally. Still a lot of Phoenix out in here for Seed. The Colossi are going down. There's 4 remaining, almost 3, but the Stalkers from Seed are forced to blink away. There are no more Zealots. I don't even know what happened with those Archons. They almost disappeared as quickly as they came into being. Yeah. Now the Colossi and Stalkers and Zealots from Younghwa are going to push across the field, try to force the Stalkers out, take out the Zealots first, and then move forward and take out the rest of it. These Phoenixes are in a pretty good number to be able to take out these Colossi, but they don't do a whole lot of damage to the shields of the Colossi.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. I kind of expected the Zealots to do a little bit better. I think the idea when there's a GG as seed admits defeat, but I think the idea there was that the Zealots would charge in, take out the Stalkers, and then once the Stalkers were eliminated, the Phoenixes could take out the Colossi. So I like the concept behind it. Not sure where the Archons really fit into that, but at least, you got a credit Seed for trying something new. It was very cool to see.
Yeah. If there were more Zealots in play, then the Archons probably would have been a little bit better, or if they attacked a little bit earlier. But that is going to put Younghwa up 1-0 right now, and our doorbell is ringing here at the Gumpy Guest House. Hopefully someone else will take care of that. So just getting the next map queued up here for you guys. For anyone wanting some more StarCraft today, if they don't have enough, I don't know how that's possible, but just in case, there is also a semi-amateur, semi-pro tournament going on, sponsored by CSN, called After the Clash, $500 cash tournament in addition to some other prizes. You can check it out at www.cyber-sports.net or check out the casting of it at glhf.tv. Casted by Gunrun, and I'm not even sure who else.
Alright, so let's get this next game going. It's going to be on Metalopolis. Same 3 maps for each match so that the players kind of have a familiarity with the process. And let's get it going. Metalopolis, the city on top of a building.
Or if you're talking to a Korean, you want to say Metal City because that's roughly what the Korean name translates to.
So, Metal City, I guess so. But I don't know, it's like a giant building, but there's grass and minerals growing out of the roof. Where's that gas coming from? Like, do you think it's just part of the heating vents? Anyway, we've got Seed, of course, spawning as our blue Protoss player at the 3 o'clock position on Metal City, otherwise known as Metalopolis in the west.
Yeah, and as you're talking about, there is grass on the roof of this building. It's pretty environmentally sound here, although they are venting gas into the atmosphere like you were just talking about. Maybe there's some factories at the lower levels of the map. Who knows?
Maybe Vespin gas is like a byproduct from like food processing or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's not naturally occurring. But looks like our other Protoss player is naturally occurring over at the 9 o'clock position. It is going to be I'm Younghwa spawning as our red Protoss. So we've got red versus blue in cross positions on Metalopolis. Game 2. Now the first game, Younghwa went for more standard composition, was able to win just with kind of sheer macro and having more stuff. While at the same time, Seed decided to try something a little bit crazy. I think on paper it sounded good, but in actual gameplay it didn't work out quite so well. So we'll have to see if he decides to play a little bit more standard. Again, this is a Korean PvP, so there's a pretty good chance that we're going to see 4-gate versus 4-gate, although this is an in-house tournament, so they may not like to do that to each other. We'll see.
Yeah, and if you play ladder all day, you're going to be doing 4-gate all day in PvP.
Yeah, that's true, yep. Yeah, basically all the Protoss are 4-gating right now in the ladder.
Hopefully that will change quite soon, because 4-gate versus 4-gate is interesting to watch occasionally, but every single game, not a fan.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to watch Protoss, but you don't want to watch 4-gate versus 4-gate, check out White Rod, definitely. He does not like 4-gating in PvP, so that's kind of a breath of fresh air once in a while.
Yeah, and we do see both players here trying to get out a few extra probes before getting the cybernetic score. It is to try to force a little bit more of an economy opening. Maybe to counter the 4-gate, maybe to help them get a little stronger 2-gas 4-gate.
2-gas for both players, actually. Okay, interesting. So sometimes you do see players try to go 2-gate robo and then try to get a lot of zealots out and immortals to hold off that 4-gate push when it does come. But since neither player is 4-gating, it may just be something that's more expand-oriented. It could be different types of gas builds. One of them could be going air, one of them could be going DT. We're going to have to kind of wait and see.
And the other interesting thing to see here is that neither player is scouting at all. So they're kind of gambling that they're not getting cheesed in any way. I don't know if that's because they're cheating and sitting next to each other and glancing at each other's screens or something.
It could be, I don't know. Or maybe they just kind of have a no cheese rule or something. Yeah, it looks like Younghwa is going to expand, and I'm curious to see if Seed will do that as well. Younghwa could have expanded by now, but waiting for a stalker to kind of do some investigating. No, deciding, again, not to expand. He might just decide to put down some more gateways instead.
Yeah, I'm gambling on map hacks here. He was going for the expansion. He didn't scout anything and then decided, oh, now I'm going to throw down another gate
2-gate robo. Yeah. All right, so 1-gate robo from Seed. So 1-gate robo versus 2-gate robo. Of course, the player that got their robotics facility slightly earlier will be able to get that immortal slightly earlier, but both players started theirs at about the same time, so there's not going to be too much of a difference there.
And we have a little stalker on stalker action here. They're just going to poke each other a little bit and then back off. Whoever gets the first hit is actually going to have a slight advantage. However, because these stalkers shoot projectiles, they are able to kill each other. For Seed, fortunately, that ended up slightly in his favor. He was able to get one extra shot before Younghwa ran away with his stalker.
Yeah, the game of Protoss Chicken definitely went in Seed's favor that time.
Yeah.
Alright, so RoboBay going down for Younghwa. He's going to be going 1-base Colossus, and RoboBay going down for Seed, 1-base Colossus as well, and an expansion actually from Seed too. So Seed deciding to try to play a little bit more economical. That's, going 1-base Colossus against someone who's trying to do the same thing and expand at the same time. Obviously favors a player that does not expand for a certain amount of time. So if Younghwa sees this, he can definitely capitalize on it. He is sending a couple stalkers across the field right now, but doesn't really have quite enough to engage as of yet.
Another interesting thing is that while Seed is expanding here, he also does have more probes. Younghwa did cut some probes in order to try to get a few extra units. However, he is deciding, well, maybe I shouldn't go for an all-in right now, and is expanding. He is starting to build more probes again. I don't know if he's chrono boosting those. He's probably going to save it up a little bit to be able to react to whatever he does see.
Now the Colossi coming out for each player. Thermal Lance is going to finish a little bit sooner for Younghwa, but really those Colossus will get out at about the same time. So despite the different ordering of the robotics bay, or robotics facility rather, the Colossi are going to come out at the same time. Now Seed will have an expansion up much sooner. In fact, it's up right now. Probes are already being transferred down there. So Seed, with that economic lead now, will be doing a little bit better since Younghwa decided not to push just off 1 base.
Yeah, they're doing the exact same build in theory, but their timings are slightly different. I think it's favoring a little bit in Seed's side, but we'll have to wait and see. It's probably going to come down more to micro than anything else.
Yeah, that's how a lot of PvPs do end up, is more micro-oriented. But Seed did get that Nexus down quite a bit earlier, as you can see. Already has been mining from it for about a minute now, whereas the Nexus for Younghwa is just now finishing. But, again, if this game ends up going for another 15 minutes, this type of timing won't really matter too much.
That's very true.
Yeah. So right now it's kind of a macro phase. Not really a lot of action going on, obviously, between each player. They're both going to try to build up to what they think is a pretty good amount of Colossi and then move out. Thermal Lance may be something they're waiting for as well. And it looks like that is what Seed's waiting for. He is going to push at about the timing when Thermal Lance does finish. So now Younghwa basically needs to defend. No, Younghwa moving out as well, possibly? Nope, deciding to defend, I think.
Yeah, and in StarCraft 2, normally the attacker is at a slight disadvantage. So if both people are doing the exact same thing, the person that's on defense is able to reinforce much faster. However, because of the Protoss warp gate mechanic, if you can get a warp or a pylon up close to your opponent's base, it sort of eliminates that travel time and kind of makes it a completely even fight. Some people dislike that. Some people think that it makes a faster game, which is more exciting. However, Seed thinks that, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea, and is backing off and getting Stargates.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, too. The armies were even enough that it's not really worth trading at this point in the game. And, heaven forbid you end up losing badly in a fight like that, even though the armies do end up, even. Say you had bad positioning or you misclicked or something, then suddenly you're just going to die to a counterattack. So Seed playing it smart, better to take, a better chance to win later than a, slim chance to win now. But more gateways coming out, and the 2 Stargates coming up from Seed. Very interesting. So possibly deciding to get some Phoenix to counteract the Colossus of his opponent. Younghwa getting a Stargate as well, but only 1.
So this is the first time we actually see the builds diverging. Seed is going for 2 Stargates, while Younghwa is going for 1 Stargate and an additional gateway. The additional gateway is going to allow him to get out a few more Zealots, a few more Stalkers, which can counter these Void Rays that are coming out from Seed.
Now, again, Seed playing pretty passive. I mean, this is a PvP, so if it does get into this stage of the game, you need to be very, very careful. Looks like he will scout this forward pylon. That's going to go down very, very quickly. Yeah, Younghwa does cancel immediately. And here comes the army of Younghwa, though. The Stalker's moving in right now. Thermal Lance has finished. Although it looks like Seed's Colossi are in a little bit better position to hit the Stalkers. Although Younghwa doing a lot of damage himself as well. It may just end up being Colossus versus Colossus. Seed pushing back Younghwa right now. The first Colossus does go down. And if Seed micros his Colossus correctly, you should be able to do it. Void Rays coming out right now. Void Rays do extra damage to Colossal units, so they do very good damage against Colossi right now. GG from Younghwa, and Seed takes game 2. We are 1-1 in this PvP series.
Wow, that definitely came down to a very close fight there. Unfortunately for Younghwa, he was actually fighting close to Seed, which, as I was talking about before, Seed is able to reinforce a little bit faster. So as the battle goes on, the army for Seed is going to be a little bit larger. And in StarCraft, if you have a little larger army, assuming everything else is even, you're going to overtake them very, very quickly.
Yeah, those 2 Void Rays coming in at the very end kind of sealed the deal, but it also is something that you do see more Protoss players doing lately. If it does become a Colossus battle, some Protoss players like Seed are saying, okay, instead of just trying to get more Colossi than you, I'm going to get Void Rays, because Void Rays do tons of damage to Colossi right now. And that's going to kind of allow those ground units to get in there and attack the Stalkers while the Stalkers are trying to handle the Void Rays as well.
Yep, and just moving into the 3rd game, trying to get this replay loaded up. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Very happy to see you guys virtually here. Again, this is, of course, the Clash of the Houses. I'm Doa, and casting with me is none other than Startail Torch. Going very soon for surgery later today.
I am.
We wish him the best.
Unfortunately, I had a 1v1 against Angel Girl Prime, and my nose did not succeed to his forehead.
How does it feel to have your nose broken by Angel Girl Prime?
Well, he was also Lotzi Prime, which beat Idra in the first series of GSL, or first season, I should say.
He's called Angel Girl now.
Yeah.
Floated like an angel, head first right into your nose. There's a picture of it on Team Liquid in your thread. There's like a big get well thread. Actually, it's more like did Prime try to assassinate Torch?
I think they did, because if you look at that picture,
It's
Angel Girl was looking directly at me. He was not looking at the ball at all.
Yeah,
He was just going for me.
Like, if you guys look up the thread on Team Liquid, it's called something like Torch breaks his nose playing soccer or something ridiculous like that. But there's actually a photo of the moment it happened, or like right afterwards.
It was right before.
Right before. Yeah. And yeah, indeed, Angel Girl Prime appears to be going right for Torch instead of the ball. So, I don't know. It's getting kind of dangerous out here for us.
Yeah, StarCraft is a dangerous sport, and we are going to see a little bit of nose-on-nose action here with Younghwa versus Seed.
Really?
In the 5th set of our Group A for the IM House. It is going to be on Xel'Naga Caverns, because this is the 3rd game for this set. And here we go.
Here we go. I really fought the temptation to say that in the Mario voice. I'm glad I overcame it, even though grammar obviously is too much for me to grasp at this point in the morning. But forget all that. Look, I'm Younghwa, spawning as our red Protoss player down at the 7 o'clock position. Who's his opponent? I'll tell you. I'm Seed, spawning as the blue Protoss player up at the 2 o'clock position on Xel'Naga Caverns. So against PvP, we are 1-1. PvP is one of those matchups, too, where anybody can really beat anybody. It kind of comes down to some micro. A small mistake is going to lose you the game. But, yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see another unique game. They've been very unique PvPs so far. I really, really would like to see sometime another Protoss player do that build that White Raw did, involving getting 2-gate Robo, doing the Warp Prism for lots of harassment.
Well, he did get a little bit lucky as well, because he was able to get that Immortal out just in time. If he wasn't able to do that, he would have lost quite easily. It wasn't the fastest 4-gate that could have really come out, so it was a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors, but it's nice to see these builds that can sort of counter 4-gate, give a little bit of variability to what the Protoss players can do.
Yeah, it was good timing, it really was. And, you know, a lot of Koreans since that time have been really looking at PvP, I feel, and kind of trying other things. We've certainly seen that in this series, but overall, I mean, that World Championship Team League was so good in kind of opening up the door to all these other types of playstyles. I think the Korean players really gained a lot of new respect for a lot of the foreign scenes.
I completely agree, and I was very surprised at how well the World Championship players actually did. It's nice to see the foreign community actually be able to flourish a little bit, and with all the other tournaments that are coming up, all the other news organizations like CSN and streaming organizations like Justin TV, it really helps to launch StarCraft into the Western world, whereas before StarCraft 2, it was only really in Korea.
Yeah, not anymore. No, esports is here. Get your grandma watching; she'll love it. Except maybe not Zerg. She might think they're kind of gross. Or like try to fly swatter the TV or something like that. But you know, as long as everybody's having fun, you know, that's the important thing, right?
And that some people are winning money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in gaming right now.
Yeah, if you've got the time, if you've got the dedication, you can live off playing StarCraft 2. You actually can.
So here, playing StarCraft 2 professionals, Younghwa versus Seed. Younghwa is actually going for a slightly later gas. I'm not sure if this means that he's going to be trying to go for a little bit faster of an expansion to try to boost out a few more minerals, or if he's just trying to delay his tech in some way.
You know, 2 gas also for Seed, which Seed is kind of one of those crazier Protoss players, so he wants to try a lot of unorthodox things, so that's not terribly surprising to me. But it's a little bit surprising that we're seeing another PvP where both Protoss players don't open with 4 gates. This is great. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's nothing wrong with doing a 4 gate. I mean, I do want to go back and say that if you're a Protoss player in a PvP, you can 4 gate. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a very, very strong opening. It's extremely strong. So if you feel like you want a 4 gate, then 4 gate. But it's also very cool to see new things, such as a Twilight Council, and with that early gas, I'm kind of thinking DTs.
Well, we actually had an early gas here from Seed. I think the later gas from Younghwa might mean that he might be going for more zealot-heavy charge.
They're making
upgrade.
stalkers too.
That's true. Really could go anyway. There's a lot of different options that the gold have. 3-gate coming out here, 4 Seed, so we are going to see a lot of really strong gateway play, especially with the Twilight Council for the upgrades.
Let's just name all the things it could be so that we can't be wrong.
Well, I think it's Protoss.
I think, yes, it's definitely, the Protoss players are definitely going to be doing Protoss builds. I think that Seed is definitely the type of Protoss player to get pros. And lots of other units that will help him win Protoss versus Protoss. And it looks like, oh nice, I like Seed targeting the one Stalker, whereas Younghwa was not. So that one Stalker almost taking a little bit of damage. It looks like there might have been some target firing going on from Younghwa as well, but the graphics did apparently deceive me. Now, at the same time, it looks like it is Blink coming from both players, so it's going to be, I mean, this is like the ultimate micro fest in terms of PvP. I mean, Blink Micro versus Blink Micro. I don't know. I love watching Blink Micro versus Blink Micro. It's so much fun. I'm excited now.
And we do have 4 gates coming out from Seed. He did get the 3rd gateway up a little bit earlier, so his production is going to be a little bit faster.
Yeah.
He does have 8 Stalkers out here right now, but is also going to be able to produce a bit extra units. I don't know why Younghwa is behind in both unit production and worker count.
Maybe just a little bit slightly sloppier macro. I mean, to call anyone's macro at this level of the game sloppy is kind of crazy, but occasionally you do get a little bit behind if you're not quite paying quite as much attention to everything. So, at this point, Younghwa trying to move out across the field here. Big group of Stalkers taking that Zelnagatara. Oh, immediately blinking away. Getting scared away by the amount of Stalkers that Seed has, which is a little bit bigger. Seed pushing across the map, getting that forward pylon down. And Younghwa looks like he'll have to play the role of the defensive Protoss this game.
Yeah, but both players putting these pylons up closer to each other kind of shortens the battlefield a little bit. they are able to warp in anywhere on the field as long as they do have that pylon power.
Now, what's the unit counting station say about the amount of stalkers each has? 15 to 14, so both players are very, very even. Seed has the ever so slight advantage. Never mind, he doesn't, it's even. And now it looks like Younghwa trying to move in through an area where Seed can't quite get the concave that Younghwa gets. This is very, very good for Younghwa. Seed blinking ahead. That was probably a bad decision. He's trying to focus down the weaker stalkers, but Younghwa doing some great micro himself, blinking ahead, and it looks like Seed is going to lose all of his stalkers and possibly the game. Younghwa coming out way, way ahead of that. Blinking ahead by Seed was a really, really bad decision. There's the GG in Korean characters, the just sound, and that is it. Younghwa takes down Seed 2-1 in this PvP.